If you're in the UK and you're looking to see wildlife, to see nature at its very best, there's a very good chance that you're going to go to one of the UK's national nature reserves. These are places that are set aside for wildlife, for our environment, but are open to all and can be accessed by anybody. Across Great Britain, these reserves represent 370,000 hectares of land. That's 2% of Scotland, 1.5% of Wales, and 0.8% of England. Now, if we compare that to the amount of gardens that we have across the UK, by one estimate, we have as much as 500,000 hectares of gardens across Great Britain. That's a fifth the amount of space as Wales, and by one estimate in England, there's 4 times as much garden space as there is national nature reserves. So why am I telling you all this? Well, if we do have so much garden space across the UK, what's stopping us collectively having an enormous collective nature reserve? If you're fortunate enough to be one of the 87% of people having access to a garden, having some sort of garden space, then you have the ability to make a massive contribution to British biodiversity and by extension reducing the impacts of climate change. You can have amazing biodiversity right on your doorstep, and it really can be quite simple. Each year, the charity Plant Life runs the No Mow May campaign, essentially asking you not to mow your lawns in May. And I've encouraged you to do that in the past. But if you really want to have a big impact on the wildlife in your garden, it's equally important to understand when to mow and how to mow throughout the rest of the year. And so for those of you that really want to encourage those wildflowers into your lawns and into your gardens, I wanted to go into a little bit more detail to tell you exactly how to do that and how to make the most of your lawn for wildlife and get going with that nature reserve that we can all collectively contribute to. Most gardens in the UK have a lawn or a patch of grass of some sort. And if properly managed, these patches of grass can have a huge impact on native biodiversity. Right now, we're moving into May, and the simplest thing to do really is to just not mow, but to really encourage that diversity in our gardens. The way we manage our lawns after May is crucially important. You see, as we move into June, we have Let It Bloom June. And that's where we let these flowers that have started to come up in May get to their full summer glory and attract insects into our garden. Ideally, we want to cut our grass to 2 different lengths. We want to leave some of it tall, like meadows, to allow those tall meadow flowers to come through. But we also want some shorter grass areas, mown every 4 to 6 weeks. And this replicates grazing and is essential to encourage those short grass flowers like these daisies. And actually, by cutting off the flowers every 4 to 6 weeks, that encourages and stimulates the growth of the plant below and will encourage more flowers to bloom, attracting more and more of those lovely insects. I've just cut my own patch of grass to 2 different lengths. So I've left some nice and long and some I've cut short. And at the beginning of June, I'll cut just the short grass areas down to 3 or 4 centimetres to encourage those short grass wildflowers to keep on blooming. You see, the whole logic is to replicate the natural grazing of the big herbivores that would have once dominated the UK landscape. Or you could just get yourself a miniature cow. Now here is the important bit. Wildflowers thrive on low nutrient soils. So we need to make sure we rake up all the grass cuttings so they don't rot and go back down into the soil, and just encourage that ryegrass to keep growing and outcompete all our wildflowers. Just rake them up and pop them on the compost. And that is all you need to do until the end of summer. At the end of summer, once those flowers have bloomed and they've turned to seed pods which have set their seed across your meadow, you can cut them down and maybe allow them to lie for a week just to make sure all that seed has dropped into the soil, and then collect it all up so that they don't rot and enrich the soil with nutrients. And you don't want to encourage more grasses, you want those wildflowers to come up. And this is also a great time to sow yellow rattle seeds. These are seeds of a native wildflower that grow in the roots of the grasses and help reduce the amount of ryegrass that's competing with your wildflowers and encourages a diversity of other flowers to come up across your meadow. It's also a beautiful flower and rattles in the wind. But that's it. Once summer is over, you can mow to your heart's content until the winter sets in and you no longer need to mow your lawns. Plant Life have set a really nice calendar, which I'll link below, which will give you the guidance of all these things and give you a nice calendar of what to do with your new meadowland each year. But really, that's it. And if we all do this, it's really very simple, but if we all do this, perhaps we really can contribute to a collective national nature reserve with our gardens. But until then, have a wonderful May.